Okay. Tonight we're telling one of the most incredible love stories of all time. And so if you think for just a moment, great story openers, how does this one rate? We have Moby Dick, who starts with this classic line of "Call me Ishmael," or The Tale of Two Cities. It was the best of time, it was the worst of time. Everybody knows it. And then, of course, who can forget Star Wars with the iconic opening and the scroll climbing up the screen and the music? Do you hear it in your head right now? Right? Iconic story openers. And so tonight, as we're celebrating the greatest love story, how does it do as an opening? We got shepherds. We got sheep. Okay, let's just say it starts quietly, right? It starts very quietly. These shepherds watching sheep, not just anywhere, but really in the middle of nowhere, outside of a remote village. And shepherds, really outcasts. It's like the director thought that the extras should be zoomed in at the beginning, and those extras suddenly become speaking parts and then central to the story. Maybe they're not extras after all. All of the gospel openers, there's 4 of them, that's right, 4 gospel openers, tell the story of hope in the midst of strife. They're told against the backdrop of war, oppression, and unimaginable darkness. They are stories of unrelenting hope, a hope kindled in the shadows of despair. And so tonight we celebrate the truth that we have a God who steps into the margins of incarnate love in the darkness and kindles hope where it seems to be impossible. What's truly astonishing for me is that these stories are not just accounts of the past, they are scripts. They are accounts of what has happened, what is happening, and what will happen. They are meant for us to step into the script and to think about how God continues to work in this world, in our lives, in the lives of others, to embody that hope, that peace and love it proclaims. That hope and incarnational love breaks through in unlikely spaces, places, and people, those extras that maybe aren't extra. So here's a true story where that has happened. Picture it, and you may know this story. It's wartime. It's really cold. And it's not just cold with the frost on the ground, it's the kind of chill that seeps into your bones, and soldiers are huddled to keep themselves warm. This is the First World War, and it was supposed to be a really quick victory. Finished by the summer, they said, but now it's dragged on to the unrelenting winter and trench warfare. It was a brutal stagnant, and they had become just basically a fist fight of who will run out of soldiers or weapons first. But even in the middle of that total awful chaos, something remarkable happened. On Christmas Eve in 1914, amidst the chaos and the despair, a single voice raised up from the trench and drifted over the no man's land. It came from the German side. They sang, "Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright." At first they didn't know what to do, but then suddenly it became a chorus of Silent Night. And then the British side, they responded with the first Noel. The angels did say, "Was certain poor shepherds in the fields as they lay." Imagine what those words meant in the moment of that chaos. Silent night in the midst of a deafening war. The first Noel. coming from the shepherds, not from governmental heads or commanders, but those in the margins or maybe in the trenches. And it didn't stop there with just the music. They threw candy to each other and cigarettes. And then eventually, one brave soul popped up, and then another, and then another. And before you knew it, there was a ton of people in no man's land exchanging these gifts and Merry Christmas to each other. And then suddenly, a ball came out of nowhere, and there was this great soccer game. And at this armistice, this moment lasted for a full day. It gave them an opportunity to bury their dead, to play games, to share gifts. That brief moment in the midst of that terrible war was the light from God, Word made flesh, incarnation made present, songs and football rising up all over no man's land. Love breaks through. That's what we celebrate tonight. And the same can be true and is true for us. We are called to be like the shepherds and the soldiers, to step into Scripture, into the story that continues even amidst our own trenches. To step into that script of God's love and light that breaks through. Every great story has a great beginning. The incarnation, the story of Jesus, is one that just doesn't end. So you are invited to step into your story and to know a God that brings light to our darkness, hope to our despair, love to our forgotten places. To inhabit that light that shines in the darkness, and the darkness will not overcome it. The story begins, and now it continues with us.